Good morning. It is time to do up some beef ribs today. I'm going to do a light trimming on these beef ribs, get them ready to sit and be happy for a couple hours, and then we're going to throw them on the smoker and have us a good dinner this evening. Beef ribs are not the most popular thing in Mississippi. I don't think a lot of people have had experience with beef ribs, but they're very, very meaty. These are a 3-bone section of ribs. I got them as well from my friend Brad at the butcher's block, and I've had them once before. They're kind of deceiving. When you look at this, you think, wow, this is just one big flat piece of meat. It's not what you see on TV when you see folks doing Texas beef ribs. They look all thick and puffy. Well, that's actually what this will do. These 3 rib bones in the back, all this meat as it cooks, it'll get taller, or shrink up widthwise and get taller, and it'll just be amazing. But you can see all the fat throughout the meat, not just this superficial fat. We're actually going to trim that off, but this inter-grained fat in the grain of the meat is going to make this a very, very tender and juicy cut of meat. It's going to be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just going to take this thin layer now like that goes down into the meat, so I'm not going to carve too much of that off, but some of this other just superficial, a little bit of silver skin and a little bit of stuff that's going to be a barrier between the seasoning and the meat itself, I want to try to cut off there, and we'll save every bit of meat that I can. But just like that right there, as you're cutting, you see that that's not really anything that's going to be down in the meat to help with the flavor. Now, like some of that is, so I'm going to leave that, but like this silver skin, that's just useless. We don't want any of that. So we're going to come through, get right underneath it with a super sharp knife. That's going to help. Quick story, this is an old Fisker's fillet knife that my grandmother gave to me back when I was a teenager. This knife has been in use now for 30 years, and still I don't abuse it or anything, and this joker is still just that sharp. I'm putting so little pressure on it, and it's just getting right down into the meat. So a good fillet knife will last a long, long time, I guess is the moral of that story. She was big into crappie fishing, but wouldn't eat them. She would catch them and then give them away, and knew when I got into fishing that she wanted to help me out with that, so that's what we did. She got me some fishing gear and a fillet knife, and always appreciate that. Anyway, we got I'm gonna dig in a little bit of this. It seems like it is deeper than I thought. I don't want to cut into the meat too much, but some of this, I just don't like the extra fat. I got plenty of fat on me. I don't need any of this extra mess. That if I can get rid of it, the stuff down in the meat will melt away, and that's good. But some of this other, I'm going to let go. Now, like this right here, when I cut into that, it's got a little meat on top of it, so I don't want to mess with that too much. But that right here, we're going to take a thin layer of that off until we get down to the meat. And looks like that's going down to the bone. So I'm not going to mess with that either. I'm going to leave that like it is, because it will. This is not that hard fat you get like on brisket. It's a little hard, but it's not that stuff that just doesn't melt away. It will melt in there and make for real nice. Now with the beef ribs, you don't have, there may be a membrane in here, but you actually want to keep that. You don't want these ribs to completely fall apart. Unlike with pork ribs, you'll tear that outer membrane off. with these, you want to leave that so that it does stay as one piece. So we're going to leave that. That's pretty good there. I don't think, I may try this a little bit here and just see. Okay, so that was just a little bit on top. So we'll gouge that a little bit. I don't like cutting too deep into the meat, but that's okay. Alright, well, we're going to season this up here. Now, I do like, as you've seen in previous videos, my all-purpose rub, Uncle Pookie's Salt and Pepper Love. It's just a mixture of salt, pepper, garlic, and onion. I'm going to season it up with this, and then also use my experimental seasoning. I've got a beef steak. It's going to actually be called the Steak and Burger Love. It's similar to this, as it does have the salt and pepper, garlic, and onion, but it is also very similar to my Buttery Love, which is a garlic butter blend. It's real heavy on the garlic, and it has a butter flavoring that goes really, really well. The Buttery Love was originally designed for seafood, and it turned out so good on beef that just tweaked it a little bit, added a couple other ingredients to it, and it has been really, really good. We've used it now at a steak contest that my oldest son Jake cooked in, and did well. It's got a really, really good garlic and salt seasoning to it, but it's also got a little bit of something extra, just a hint of paprika, a couple of little pepper seasonings that really add to the zest of it. So we're going to season up these beef ribs with that and see how they go today. I'm not rubbing this in, I'm just sprinkling it on and patting it in so that it does kind of stick. And you can see it's already, that salt is already pulling some of the moisture out of the meat to pull in some of these flavors. So I'm going to put a little bit of a heavier coat of this beef seasoning on the top. Alright guys, we are back. As you can see, we have a rightly seasoned set of beef short ribs. Just threw a little more of my soon to be available Steak and Burger Love on them. The seasoning I had put on earlier this morning, it kind of soaked into the meat some, and man, it's looking good. We're about ready to throw them on the smoker. Just want to take a second here because, as you can see, the hole between these two smokers, I'm missing my two drums today. Let my friend Jimmy Shotwell borrow them for a contest in Cape Girardeau last weekend, and then he'll be using them in 2 weeks again at the Goat Days Festival in Millington, Tennessee. So today is a day for my Gorilla. The Gorilla OG, I think, is what they call it now, since they have a Silverback, which is also a pellet grill. But this little pellet smoker that I have from Gorilla, I did not think at one point I would be a big pellet fan, but this thing has been phenomenal. Great little, as you can see, it's one thing I really like about it is it's a small footprint. Doesn't take up a whole lot of space. It is mobile. It has a set of wheels underneath, and with that foot brake there, it'll lift up with like a little peg, a stopper peg, to keep it from rolling around. And one of the big highlights of this, I think, is this sliding door lid. Let the smoke roll through there. You don't have to open and lose all of your heat every single time. If you just need to stick your eyes on something and check something out real quick, you can crack the lid open, check it out, close it right back up. You don't lose all your heat. This particular grill, I mean, it is made solid as a rock. It is a thicker gauge steel top and bottom, so the heat retention is excellent. The hopper itself, where the pellets are stored and come from, it'll hold a 20-pound bag of pellets in here. And again, such a small footprint. kind of hard to see where I've got it here, but it goes down to the auger. You can actually drain out these pellets if you want to and change them out if you want to change flavors. But the unit itself is just constructed great. It's built like a tank. As small as it is a heavy piece of machinery. Stainless steel side tables, hanging hooks. You've got your grease catcher. You can put in any kind of cup, can that you need to put in there to catch that grease. But it's got the heat diverter inside as a drip plate that drains outside to this can. Thick gauge. It's kind of hard to see, but these are not just cheap, small, thin cooking grates. I mean, the grates, I believe, are 1/4-inch steel rods. Actually met Mark Graham, one of the main guys with Grilla. I think he's marketing and design as well, but super great guy. We met him and the Grilla team at the World Food Championships in Orange Beach, Alabama. I believe it was two years ago, and I got to see one of these particular models up close, and I really liked it because of the small footprint. Wasn't sure if I was going to be a fan of the pellets, but I tell people a lot, it's real similar to cooking on gas, except you do have an actual wood fire, so you have true wood smoke coming through. Even though they're the pellets, the pellet material, still it is a true wood fire and a wood smoke. So great little grill. If you're interested, I don't know much about some of the other brands. I'm sure there's a lot of the Traegers and the Yoders are great machines, but from experience, I can definitely recommend this Grilla. It is a great grill. So anyway, I'm going to open this up real quick. We've been at temp for a little while. I'm going to use my handy dandy wood scraper, get some of this old debris off of here. Last time I did a butt, I didn't clean up afterwards, and I'm paying the price now. Got to get everything cleaned off here real quick. You can see the grease catch below the cooking surface. Basically, I've got it covered in aluminum foil to just kind of help with the cleanup here. About every 4 or 5 cooks, I'll go through and take that foil out and remove it, put down a new sheet. Just makes cleaning so much easier. That looks pretty good. I do like these new wooden scraper paddles. They do the trick. I can get into the tight joints, and then of course the hanger here, and just hang it out of the way. And I'm gonna go ahead and get these beef ribs here. Yeah, we'll do something on that here one day here real soon. All right, let me get these bad boys here up and on the smoker. Alright, place them right in the center so there's no rolling of direct heat up on it. Good night. We will see y'all. I'm going to leave those on open smoke for about 3 hours. And this particular unit, it is really nice. It has a 20-degree swing. So it's been down a little bit. I have it set for 290 degrees. And it will swing up to 300 degrees, and it'll let the smoke, the pellets kind of smolder and go down as low as 280 before the fan kicks up to put more air on it to burn more pellets. So that variance of 20 degrees will really help to put smoke out. Like you saw earlier when I had the lid cracked open, it really puts out a good bit of smoke. And I think some of them only have like a 10-degree variance or window in there that it can go up or down. But having a 20-degree window, I think, really does help with the smoke flavoring in your meat. It lets those pellets smolder a little bit and put out a little more smoke without just being pure heat. And it really does make a difference in the flavor. I don't have any complaints when I've had these. I've used this for food I've made for customers, and then also, for our family and friends. Everyone talks about this. It's a good smoke flavor without being overpowering. So Anyway, we're going to let these rest and sit on this smoker for about 3 hours. We will check back with you then, and we will go from there. We are back. I have a pan with a couple of sheets of aluminum foil with some butter and a little Worcestershire sauce. And that seasoning you see in there is my very own Buttery Love seasoning. And we're going to wrap. Wow, looky there. It's hard to tell, but these beef ribs have a little drawback off the bone. And like I said earlier, they start out thin, but man, they do pop up here. I'm about to throw these beef ribs into this juice mixture, wrap it up so that I'm going to put them in. Normally with pork ribs I'll put them in meat side down, but in this case I want that juice to steam this beef. And I put the garlic, the Buttery Love, which is heavy in garlic seasoning, in with this juice to kind of impart some more flavor. A lot of people will do just straight beef broth, but I want it to steam flavor into the meat, and so that's what I'm hoping we will do here. So the beef ribs are about to be wrapped up and put on for another 2 or 3 hours, and we will let you know when we come back how everything's turning out. It has been about 2 hours, about 30 minutes early, but I have a sneaking suspicion that these beef ribs are already over 200 degrees. Yes, I cheated. I looked at them to see. I was wanting to shoot for around 208 to 210 degrees on these beef ribs. As you can see, there's some monster pullback here. I don't know how the sun's going to react to the video, but we're going to try to slip right in between the bones, and that is reading 210. I'm going to try this bigger section over here. 210. Again, it's kind of hard to read, but we are at temperature. It looks absolutely gorgeous. The butter and Worcestershire is bubbling down in there. I'm going to take these ribs off, put them in this pan right here, and actually I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to cover them with a towel and let them hang out for probably an hour or so until the missus comes home and she can help partake in the trying of the beef ribs. So I'm going to get these wrapped back up, put in the pan. I'm going to leave a little vent hole so that the steam will escape and they won't continue to cook. And we will check back in just a few minutes, and well, actually it'll be about an hour or so, but I'll get back in here and we'll check everything out, let you know how they turned out. Stay tuned. Well, we have the beef ribs finished. Turned out excellent, and so excellent even that the bones have come clean off. That's why we don't cut the membrane off the back of the beef ribs, but still fantastic. I mean, that's exactly what I want when I'm eating at home, is for the ribs to just fall off the bone. I'm going to cut through here and see exactly. Oh wow, let's check this out. Beautiful smoke ring. I don't know from this far away, but it is dripping with juice. It is absolutely gorgeous. Thick, meaty, juicy goodness there. I mean, just phenomenal. And well, I was going to cut through some, but this end piece right here just fell apart, calling my name. So still a little bit of fat on the inside, but that's all right. Beautiful red beef there. It's almost like looking at a piece of brisket. when you cut through, the muscles going in different directions. The top outside layer is kind of barky. It's a little bit crispy. Inside is juicy and tender. That outside bark piece, it's got all the flavor of the seasonings, the salt, pepper, the garlic, a little bit of the paprika, little extra peppers in there. Just awesome. So, if you go to your local butcher, and sometimes you can find these at your, your Kroger, your butcher. You may be able to go into the meat market or meat department and ask them about it. Order some beef short ribs and try them out. This was about a 5.5 hour cook. Again, I love my drums, don't get me wrong. Drums can cook anything and everything. But the pellet grills are really, really good. They're convenient. And that Gorilla OG, tell me you don't get enough smoke when you have that bright red smoke ring right there. Got a good smoky flavor, but it's not going to overpower. That's the good thing about a pellet. You don't have the opportunity for that dirty smoke if you put too much wood or too heavy wood in the smoker. Just a light smoke flavor. Just phenomenal. Really, really good. Again, that Gorilla. There's a lot of good pellet grills on the market today, but the Gorilla brand is one of the more economical. It's not, cheaply made at all. I believe that OG, the hourglass style that I have, brand new from Gorilla Grills, I believe it runs $7.99, and it is a tank of a smoker. I mean, it's got a good surface area where you can cook a lot of meat. You're not going to feed 40 people on one cook cycle, but it is a great grill smoker combination. I believe the top temperature on it is 500 degrees. Everything on it though is made heavy duty. It's built to last, and I can tell you from experience, if you have to contact customer service there, Mark Graham, he does a great job. He answers all your questions. He explained to me before I bought it that the way they build those smokers is everything has its own components. So if you do have a problem with the auger or with the control board, they can, you can order a replacement, they can ship it to you, and it's easy enough for you to unplug something, take the old out, plug in the new, wire, screw everything back together, and you're back in business. So the customer support is fantastic. The grill itself, like I said, I've had no problems at all with it. And other than my drum, it's probably one of my favorite smokers. I can say that about all of them, but anyway, still, great products, great service. And the beef short ribs, phenomenal. Cooked them until literally the bones just came straight out. I don't know if little Georgia's going to get her teeth sunk into one of these bones yet, but man, I mean, anytime I make ribs at home and the bones come out clean, I'm happy with that, and that goes for the beef ribs as well. So glad y'all subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on the YouTube videos, and if you have any questions, hit me up on Facebook, comment below, on Twitter and Instagram as well. If you like to purchase any of the products that I offer, go to the website at www.unclepookiebarbecue.com, and I appreciate y'all watching, and y'all have a good evening.